トビデオ
It's the year 2000. Humanity is entering a new millennium, and the overall feeling in the air is one of unmatched optimism. It seems like everywhere things have reached a new pinnacle and that they have nowhere else to go but up. The 21st century is so bright, we gotta wear shades, baby. That, of course, did not turn out to be true, but for a while it seemed like everyone had it figured out going into the year 2000. You probably couldn't say the same about the anime industry, though. I want to change the world. 2000 was a weird time for the anime industry because it is peak transitional era. Digital has almost completed its takeover of the traditional cell methods, the OVA era is in the midst of going out with a bang, and the industry, emerging from a recession that rocked Japan for most of the 90s, is now having to seriously contend with the growing overseas market that has exploded in just a few years. Things are getting better, but industry shakeups have brought uncertainty. As for the anime released in that period, it's a real grab bag. On one side of the aisle, you have soon-to-be classics like Inuyasha, Hajime no Ippo, and Yu-Gi-Oh! And on the other side, there be monsters. With the decline of OVAs and the emergence of satellite TV, anime TV series began to move more towards the otaku crowd. Simple 12 to 24 episode series that sold themselves on the promise of you, the audience, getting to see a gaggle of cute anime girls getting into hijinks with the audience surrogate male lead. The success of Zebek's Love Hina that year cannot be understated. It was the Sword Art Online of the aughts. But like with the light novel isekai that came a decade later, harem anime couldn't just give the audience a revolving door of pretty girls to fawn over. You had to have a hook to get people to tune in. And already, in the year of our Lord 2000, they were thinking outside the box. 19-year-old Kazuya Saotome is an industrious electrical engineering student at college. While he does attend classes, he prefers to spend most of his free time constructing robots. However, he appears to be stuck on his latest project, a robotic toy squid called Ikaria, codenamed Project Doraemon. Get it? Apparently, he finds himself unable to code satisfactory artificial intelligence for it.
Morning there, Ikaria.
Kazuya's wealthy and hammy rival, Kotaro Nanba, catches wind of Kazuya's tech woes and decides to help him. He gives him a computer program that he says will provide valuable research data for his project. In reality, this program is actually a virus intended to infect Kazuya's rig and destroy his work. While fighting off the virus by implementing Nanba's absurdly long password, Kazuya's chaotic keystrokes somehow end up on the website for a mysterious company called Cyberdyne, and keys in an order for something called a cyber doll. Almost immediately, a delivery woman knocks on Kazuya's door and hands him a small package. He doesn't know what was delivered to him, and even if he should open the box in the first place. That is, until he hears a tiny voice from within.
Let's see.
Thank you.
Ah, oh my god!
In the package is a cyber doll named Maid, 1/6 the size of a normal cyber doll, so she can easily fit in the palm of Kazuya's hand. And while size might be an issue for her, she is a maid at the end of the day, and she will, in her own words, do her best to help her new master Kazuya in his day-to-day activities.
I'm small, but my skills are sizable. Huh? For example...
And now let's take a look to see what's in store for tomorrow's weather in the Kanagawa region.
I can do things like that.
But Maid won't be the only girl under Kazuya's roof by the end of this anime. Over the course of this show's run, Kazuya ends up collecting several other cyber dolls he crosses paths with. Cyberdoll Rena, a cutesy child-type cyberdoll that's excitable but also prone to surliness when she doesn't get her way. And when that happens, be prepared for her supersonic crying. Cyberdoll K, an older sister-type cyberdoll with a genius-level IQ and gentle, mature disposition. However, she does take time to process data, which can leave her in a daze.
No, Actually, the adage goes, anticipate to rule, I believe. But there's also an axiom that rules can ruin everything. Oh, which way does it go?
Cyberdoll Mommy, a motherly type cyberdoll who is an absolute domestic goddess on rollerblades, but just because she's good at housekeeping doesn't make her immune to bouts of flightiness.
Let's have all the guests we can. Be a child, woman, or man. I confess, I quest for guests. Give them food and let them rest. Guests
I guess translated, that means come in.
And finally, Kasumi, an actual human non-cyberdoll who is Kazuya's tomboy neighbor and closest friend. But judging from the outfits she chooses to wear when she visits him, it's clear that she wants to be more than just friends.
Why don't you just use the hallway?
I have to change clothes first. I can't go over there like this.
Oh.
But all is not well in Robo-Maid Harem Town. It turns out that Maid was not a gift, and the delivery woman, Cyberdoll Sarah, is tasked to repossess May since Kazuya clearly can't pay for her million-yen price tag. Helping her out is the always scheming Namba, and they end up forming a Team Rocket-style duo trying to track down May and take her from Kazuya, with all the shenanigans that implies.
Yeah, all right, I got you, winner!
Oh, she's gone. Where'd
Who the hell are you and what are you doing?
2000's Handmade May is the product that paints a vivid portrait of what the anime landscape was like 25 years ago. Not just a vehicle for introducing a cute girl, but a cute robot maid girl, and the hook being that she's travel size, so that makes her extra cute. It's a recipe for success, and one that did pay off, at least in the short term. I remember Handmade May as one of those lucky anime that stuck around in both Japanese and American cultures after it was released. It definitely found a second life through the bustling AMV culture.
When I get you all alone, I'm gonna take off all your clothes. Ain't nobody gonna interrupt my game. Oh no, no.
But like many anime of this period, it found itself completely forgotten even before the decade's end due to rapid changes in otaku taste. I think by the time the first Horror Heat episode aired, anime like Handmade May were no longer a concern. But such a fun concept like this anime deserves some look at. Plus, I kinda have a lingering affection towards this type of 2000s anime, where the mood is light, the digipaint colors are bright, and the panty shots are as white as pure snow. 25 years later, are we in good hands with Handmade May, or is an anime like this made to be disregarded?
I'll tidy it all up as thanks for this beautiful ribbon he gave me. Okay, I'm going to give it all my best.
Since the days of Lum Invader, anime and manga productions have always looked for ways to bring an average audience surrogate male character into contact with an extraordinarily cute female character not of this world. This was usually done through the girl being from another planet, another fantasy world, or the girl being a literal goddess. But around the dawn of the 90s, there was a new avenue by which a girl could be introduced, and that was through the power of cutting-edge technology. The girl can now either be the product of a videotape given form in the real world, or a personal computer that just so happens to be shaped like a beautiful woman. At the same time, there was an ongoing evolution underway in otaku fandom regarding popular costume wear for their favorite cute anime girls. In the 90s, a popular uniform for cute anime girls to wear was the Anna Miller style waitress uniform, consisting of a white blouse, orange or pink miniskirt dress with a waistline cut directly under the breasts, matching apron, and a heart-shaped name tag. It checked off so many fantasies for young anime fans. You've got your fave wearing a cute uniform that emphasizes her breast, and it's the uniform she's wearing in service to you. By the late 90s, artists were starting to deviate from that style of uniform by making it more frilly, more Victorian, and associating it with a position of even greater servitude. What's better than your favorite anime girl being a waitress? How about your favorite anime girl living in your home and tending to your every need? Thus, the paths inevitably end up crossing, the growing appeal of robot/computer girls, and the emergence of the maid costume in popular anime. In fact, Handmade may have actually been one of the first maid anime to come out into popular culture, right alongside last year's Steel Angel Kurumi and 2001's Mahoramatic. I just realized the first maid anime titles involved robot maids. I guess that solves the issue regarding wages. Don't want that in your perverted fantasy. Handmade May also broke new ground by being the debut production of then recently founded studio TNK. Formed by ex-Tatsunoko production animator Nagatoro Kato on January 29, 1999, TNK were a powerhouse for producing cutesy-poo anime with an ecchi edge in the early aughts, most of which we will eventually get around to one of these days. This would lead them to far bigger projects like the explicitly Yuri Mecha series Kanazuki no Miko, the big ecchi heavy hitter of the 2010s, High School DxD, and School Days. And they're still producing anime to this day, like Redo of Healer. Also, The director's position for Handmaid May would fall in the hands of Shinichiro Kimura, a graduate of the Osaka University of the Arts with a major in oil painting of all things. He had originally wanted to become an art teacher, and only took working in animation as a temporary day job. But we rarely get to choose where life takes us. After hoofing it in the storyboard mines for a few years and even directing an episode of the Magic Bus produced hentai series Angel of Darkness, Kimura would make his true debut as a full-time director with Burn Up Excess, the TV anime spin-off of Burn Up W. I know I will have to talk about that series one of these days, but give me time. I had trouble with 4 episodes of that dreck, imagine how 13 episodes are gonna go down.
Check, please!
And after Handmaid May, Kimura kept on doing similar titles to it. If you ever saw a sickeningly sweet looking moe anime title that had that glossy early aughts sheen to it, you can bet your bottom dollar that Kimura was behind it all. One reason why people refer to the period between 1998 to 2002 as a low period for the anime industry is because of the rough transition from cell to digital animation. In what people dub the Digipaint era, some people had a much better time adapting to the new tools than others. TNK's work on Handmaid May falls squarely in the median of the strengths and weaknesses of this era. While it does look better than most thanks to a recent remastering courtesy of Discotech, some problems from the era still pass by our field of vision. Most of the setting feels flat and sterile, characters going off model is more difficult to get away with, repeating animation when they can get away with it, and some techniques that would have looked fine in the Cell era looking off here. But then there are those moments of excellent animation that take you completely by surprise. There were multiple animation directors for this anime, but they always seem to be ready to stretch at the moment where you'd least expect it, like this entire rollerblade chase animated by Chikashi Kubota. And let's be real, what makes a character like Nanba actually work is the amount of effort put into his hyperactive movement and utterly demented facial expressions. He is so close to becoming a Bob Clampett character.
Don't you know that you've attacked the great Nanbara?
We're sorry, mister. It wasn't on purpose.
The character designs by Katsuzo Hirata is the real strength of the series. May's design makes her a real sweetness. A statuesque beauty whose doll-like size and innocent, curious demeanor gives us a unique flavor of Gap Moe. Plus, her maid outfit comes with accessories like a tiny coin purse and her USB charge cable that serves as the makeshift tail. And I like the extra touch from the sound design team by giving her a plastic rattling noise every time she moves, emphasizing her artificial being.
Please excuse my poor hospitality. Allow me to bring you some milk.
And on the opposite side, you have Kasumi, the childhood friend girl with an energetic tomboyish streak, a more active pursuer of Kazuya's affections, and doing it all with a confident smile on her face. But her and May do share one design trait, and that's the short skirt that offers plenty of panty peeks between the both of them. They actually don't linger on them like most ecchi titles are wont to do, so they're more of a surprise treat when you get them. As for the other cyber dolls, they all embody archetypes with their outfits that gives them appeal without being too cliche. Sarah's elegant femme fatale design clashes wonderfully with both the routine humiliation she goes throughout the anime and her rapturous love of ramen. Kay is the conservative, soft-spoken big sis that dresses in delicate sundresses, which can result in fan service in the rare moment she gets one. And Mommy, well, she's basically the Japanese equivalent of a hot 50s mom, especially if her verbal tick is anything to go by. The odd one out here is Rena. I don't know why they put the little sister archetype in a nurse's outfit other than it's a pun on her status as a recovery cyber doll, but at least it comes with a hippo hoodie. Voice actors in both Japanese and English also carry a lot of the anime's strengths. In Japan, you can hear veteran cute anime girl voices like Omi Minami and Kikuko Inoi, alongside then newcomers like Rie Kugimiya and Mikako Takahashi. And on the English side, we've got classic dub staples like Wendy Lee, Bridget Hoffman, Dorothy Elias Fawn, and Michelle Ruff. Standout roles include R. Martin Klein as Namba, who does an admirable job trying to match the breathless energy of Yuji Ueda's performance.
There's the access password recorded there that's made for a poor guy just like you to let the user into a secret website.
シークレットサイトか。いいのかいもらっちゃって。
もちろんだと遠慮するな心の友よ
ありがとう南原。
No!
And there's Maria Yamamoto and Leah Sargent as May, both giving performances that's tiny and fragile but still full of determination to do her best. Though I gotta give the edge to Sargent for using the same voice she did when she voiced, ironically, one of the tallest cute anime girls in history.
かすみさんから和也さんにお渡ししてて、メイ、和也さんのお役に立ちたくて。
I thought I'd bring it to you quickly because I wanted to show you how very useful I can be.
Now I'm gonna pull some Babe Ruth shit and point to the stands calling this shot. Like with how people have begun to reappraise the violence canon, I think people are gonna reappraise this era of anime. The early aughts digipaint harem anime with a small army of adorable female archetypes fawning over an everyman dude with some edgy fanservice sprinkled in between. But why, you ask? Well, like with the violence canon, we simply don't get these kinds of anime anymore. Ecchi comedy and harem anime have actually been on the decline thanks to most of them being folded into the isekai fantasy genre. It's not enough that the everyman has to have these girls fawn over him, he has to also be the best gamer in the world on top of it. And I know that people are hankering for more of this pure type of harem comedy because when Discotek announced they were licensing and remastering this anime, I actually saw people get excited for it, either for nostalgia's sake or even just pure curiosity. So walking into Handmaid May, I was expecting things to actually be pretty good, or at least above average, and as an ecchi harem comedy, I'd say it met those expectations. In terms of fan service, let's just say it hits the ground running in the first episode, not just giving us panty shots and boob wibble, but some downright fetish material. Kazuya blushes when May shows him her barcode, printed lovingly on her dainty bare foot.
Hot damn it, those things are beautiful!
And the climax of the first episode is May running out of batteries and Kazuya having to find her charge port, and oh, it really does go there.
Which only leaves.
Fortunately, or unfortunately, depending on what's your bag, it never goes that far again. The fan service is just the spice of this program after all. What this anime is really about is the budding relationship between Kazuya and May and the comedic escapades of Namba and Sarah trying to get May away from Kazuya. There is more to Kazuya than just him being the standard male lead in a harem. He is a child prodigy with robotics and is always striving to keep building better projects. Most of his free time outside of college is him in front of a computer coding and troubleshooting his own programs. It's what allows him to finally complete Ikaria, the plush squid mascot character for this anime. And as much of a nice guy as he is, Kazuya also has his share of flaws. His inexperience around girls means he kind of develops a crush easily on any beautiful lady that passes his eye line, whether it be May, the waitress taking his order at the cafe, or the lovely policewoman hauling his ass down to the station.
You're coming to the police station where I'll teach you a lesson.
Oh. Huh?
Come on, let's go.
Well, wait, there's been a mistake.
They all say that.
Bye-bye!
He also has a hidden pervert streak, not exactly minding seeing a girl innocently show him her panties. And for as much as he loves May, the tech nerd in him can't help but be tempted to take her apart to see what makes her tick.
If I know, then I... Huh?
What's the matter?
I wasn't thinking about taking you apart, really, I wasn't.
May, meanwhile, is the goody two-shoes female lead, wanting to be the best maid she can be regardless of her size. I really did like seeing all the makeshift gadgets she made to better suit her size as a maid that you can fit in the palm of your hand.
What you got there?
Kazuya made this for me so it would be easy.
And like the typical stay-at-home wife, she likes to do the chores while watching a soap opera anime, Dazaki designs and all.
Mika, my love.
Yamasaki!
Mika!
The conflict for these episodes, as I said, come from Namba and Sarah trying to scheme their way to get Mei away from Kazuya. It's great to see how much of this partnership is completely unwilling on Sarah's part because Namba is only doing this out of petty revenge. Sarah's doing this because it's her day job and she's risking getting her ass fired if she doesn't repossess a doll that wasn't paid for.
Damn it all! And by that, I don't mean to say, what time is it? It's 6:30 a.m. What I mean is, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, so what?
A martyr of the working class. It's through them that the harem is assembled in the first place, Rena and Kei being cyberdolls that Sarah borrowed from the company to get Mei away from Kazuya, Rena being a cyberdoll whose specialty is the retrieval of items, and Kei being someone who could outsmart Kazuya with her vast data-driven intellect. But both decide that they like hanging around Kazuya so much because, darn it, he's just a nice guy. It is funny to see how they make the harem arrangement work in Kazuya's studio apartment, Kei transforming his closet into her own makeshift laboratory through the power of science, and Rena going to live at Kasumi's place because it'll save Kazuya the embarrassment of having to explain why he, a single 19-year-old, has a third grader living under his roof. And it just goes on like that for the rest of the series. Mei goes on tiny misadventures, Namba and Sarah get to be Tom to her Jerry, and both Kazuya and Mei begin to learn that Mei's programming is actually evolving beyond the standards of a normal cyberdoll. This is in tandem with Kazuya and Mei slowly beginning to grapple with their feelings that maybe their relationship can be more than just man and machine.
Cyberdoll Mei has a complete understanding of Kazuya Saotome, and she knows him as though she can read his inner thoughts. No Maid-type cyberdoll is programmed for that.
The good times do eventually have to come to an end. By the end, Sarah has had enough messing around and just goes directly to Kazuya telling him that if he doesn't pony up the dough needed to pay for Mei by tomorrow evening, she will be repossessed.
As you have not paid for her by company authority, I'm here to cancel your licensing agreement. We have no choice but to repossess her. Collection tomorrow, 6 p.m.
Naturally, Kazuya and Mei don't want this to happen, but Kazuya's student salary, or lack thereof, means that they have zero options. So all they can do is make the best of their time on their last day together. There's no last minute change of hearts or someone coming in clutch with a paycheck. Mei is now gone from Kazuya's hands and is once again the property of Cyberdyne.
I really...
Mei.
Repossession of merchandise has been confirmed.
Kazuya, alone again, finds himself in a deep funk, missing the joy Mei had brought into his life as both a tiny maid and a tiny friend. But then, he gets an unexpected visitor. A masked man by the name of Cyber X, who had been stalking Kazuya all throughout this anime, has finally made himself known. He has taken an interest in Kazuya's artificial intelligence research and has decided to give him a cyberdoll so that he can better his research. Guess who he chooses?
I want Mei.
But that's a standard grade model. There are much better ones available, you know.
No, I want only Mei. The same Mei from before. I want that one.
After CyberX leaves to arrange the delivery, Kazuya now has to play the world's most painful round of the waiting game. His package finally arrives. He tears it open, but only sees a lone charge cable. He is disappointed until he gets a good look at the delivery girl. It's Mei, now upgraded to a full-sized model, allowing her to not just do her own job more efficiently, but to also pursue a newfound relationship with Kazuya. Size can now no longer come between the two of them. They are free to become more than just man and his handmaid. It's a happy ending for all. By the way, this is only the 5th episode out of 10.
What?
The big problem with Handmaid Mei is that TNK completely decide to dump their premise halfway through the series. Mei is no longer Handmaid Mei, she is just Maid Mei for the rest of the anime's run. Now I can see why they chose to do this. It does show progress for Mei and Kazuya's relationship. It makes it a lot more easier to write situations for Mei without having to take her small stature into consideration. And it actually leads up to the true climax of the story, where Nanba's future descendant comes back to tell everyone about a virus that's infecting every Cyberdoll in both the future and the present, and that the only hope for curing that is through Mei, since her changing from a handheld to a full-size model made her immune to the virus. I will admit, it does kinda earn this ending. Nanba putting aside his grudge with Kazuya to help him out, secondary characters coming together to stop the virus, finding out that the virus is Nanba's computer virus from the first episode, and Kazuya having to retype that long and fast password again to cure it. We even end on learning that CyberX is Kazuya's descendant, and that the programming he created for Ikaria will be the foundational code all Cyberdolls will be built on. But having Mei no longer be the sweet little thing who can be carried around in people's pockets and sweep keyboards with her little Q-tip broom takes so much away from what makes this series unique. It's like, what if the producers behind Midori Days looked at the premise of a delinquent's right hand becoming a cute anime girl halfway through its run and decided, nope, this is too weird, change her back into a regular girl, but keep making this romantic comedy thing going. It loses so much of what makes it special in the first place and kinda makes it boring as well. After the 5th episode, Handmaid Mei ends up becoming a low-key romantic comedy with minuscule stakes. Any conflict that could happen between the characters ultimately ends up not being that big a deal. The episode when Mommy arrives, 3/4 of the way through this anime, Mei is jealous seeing her being a better domestic Cyberdoll than she is, and her attempts to emulate her only blow up in her face. But the episode ends with her deciding that, well, since Mommy's doing most of the work around the house now, she'll have more time to spend with Kazuya. Or how a runner throughout the anime is the growing love triangle between Mei, Kazuya, and Kasumi. We even get a whole episode devoted to the history of Kasumi's ladder between her and Kazuya's residences and why it's important. There's genuine friction between Kasumi and Mei because Kasumi has known Kazuya longer, and there were hints that a relationship was about to blossom before Mei showed up. It all comes to a head when Mommy receives 2 tickets to an amusement park, giving one to Kazuya, and Mei getting the other after a comical chase scene. Naturally, Kasumi is really upset at this development, so the next day, she decides to let them have their date in peace and goes off to her job as a Little League coach like it was a normal day. Huh. Points for maturity anime, but ending this conflict with such a light touch makes me feel like you really didn't have that much in the way of plans after Mei got her full-sized form. This is something else that's lost by abandoning the series' hook halfway through the series: the structure. Everything that happens for the first half of the series happened because Kazuya got a fun-sized maid in the mail, and now they don't want to be separated. By solving both the issue of Mei's height and the matter of payment for her, it leaves the characters twiddling their thumbs up until the computer virus plot comes into play in the penultimate episode. So you get Nanba and Sarah still eavesdropping and following Kazuya around even after the impetus to do so is completely solved. The explanation the anime gives is that Sarah's next assignment from Cyberdyne was to keep an eye on Kazuya, but that still doesn't explain why she's still willfully choosing to hang around Nanbara. I guess since because Nanbara ends up developing a crush on Mei, they also need Sarah to balance things out since she also develops a crush on Kazuya. Boy, is this guy God's gift to Cyberdolls or what? But since he did create the foundational coding for the Cyberdolls in the first place, does that mean they're all crushing on their god? And most of the anime from the halfway point onward just feels like a particularly boring slice of life anime punctuated by some admittedly chuckle-worthy comedy that did keep my attention.
I will blend into the crowd this way and avoid standing out. But don't worry, my little firecracker, I brought one in your size.
Yes, lucky me.
But even then, I still found myself missing the energy the first half of the series had. I bet even the producers knew they made a tactical error in Mei getting her full-sized body too early. The OVA bonus episode that closes out the series has a plot centered around Mei getting her consciousness transferred into 5 separate mini-Meis, each with their own facet of Mei's personality. This, on top of considerable upping the fan service, shows us a direction the series could have potentially gone into without needing to give up its hook. At the same time though, I think it might be my least favorite episode of the bunch. probably because the actual plot involves the harem having to babysit a baby, a plot I know was done better elsewhere, and if you can't surpass that, don't even bother. There is some struggle because mommy is out of the house at this time, but like with any other problem in this anime, it gets easily resolved, this time through a phone call. And the baby plot is mostly just so we can get a coda that says, oh, maybe May has developed some reproductive capabilities. Who knows? Wink wink. Also, apparently Nanba and his descendant have also moved into Kazuya's apartment now, despite it being established that he lives in a mansion.
What?
Handmaid May is so frustrating. They had such a good thing going for the first half. A comedy harem series centered around a tiny robot maid girl and the hijinks that ensue. But then the producers lost faith and got rid of the tiny descriptor for what I can assume to be greater flexibility. Once they get that flexibility, they kinda don't know what to do with it. So the plotlines that do play out are ones that didn't need May to really be full-sized or even would have been improved if they kept her original height. Even the plot point about her being immune to the virus at the end due to her height change can be switched out. The first half establishes that May has unique programming that's constantly changing, and that seems to have been where the cure for the virus was going to come from. If you think about this for even a little, you can see that abandoning the unique premise to make Handmaid May more stand-up harem fare really did nothing for the series, and in fact, may have harmed it. I wouldn't say that Handmaid May is an unrealized masterpiece, I'm not going that far, but I think a cozy little spark was there in the beginning that would make this feel distinct from the standard crop. Unfortunately, discarding what made the series unique halfway through only squandered what potential it could have had. It could have easily been a 7, but it chose to be a 5. But Handmaid May's short length, appealing characters, and the surprising bits of good animation did not make watching it feel like a complete chore. So if you do feel like watching some early aughts harem anime, you could do far worse. Gotta hand it to TNK. They cooked up something real special for their first production outing in the world of anime. It's a shame they couldn't see it. Thank you all for watching. If you like this video or want to support this channel, please donate to my Patreon. Each dollar can give you early access to my videos as they come out, as well as keep the channel running a bit more smoothly. You can also subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for notifications, or just like this video. Either way, you'll be helping me out. That's all for now. See you for the next round of tapes.
Let's have all the guests we can. Be a child, woman, or man. I confess, I quest for guests. Give them